Hello everyone and welcome to WAW Watch Along Wrestling. I'm your host Scott Lewis. Thank you so much for joining us for our first episode. And today we're going to kind of do a first all the way around. Then in our first episode we figured we would watch two firsts. We're going to watch the first WWE Monday Night Raw and the first WCW Monday Nitro. And I say we because each week we're going to be joined by at least one of my kids. I do have 6 kids. The oldest is 18 and he will be joining me today for the first episode. He has never seen either one of these, so we're going to get his thoughts, his opinions, and all that stuff on both shows. Coming in blind, like I said, he's not seen. None of my kids have probably seen 99% of what we want to watch. They try to watch the current product here and there. They try to get into it. And the Royal Rumble and WrestleMania are their 2 shows that they will watch every year without fail. I think the Rumble's probably their favorite ones. So yeah, that's kind of how the format's going to go. We're going to watch something. It'll be a Raw, Nitro, ECW, Smoky Mountain, Continental Championship Wrestling, something. Or we may watch a collection of matches. Next week's episode is going to be Shawn Michaels 2002, so that's 4 or 5 matches. We'll use Peacock and I think maybe YouTube for those. So that we're going to kind of do stuff like that. If it's a long pay-per-view or premium live event, whatever you want to call it, we may break it up into 2 different episodes. So that's kind of how we're going to do it, and just get thoughts and opinions. We're not going to come on here and do test runs and everything like that, and we want it to be very, very real and open about all this. So yeah, I think we're going to have a great time. I think the format's going to be great. I think we're going to enjoy it. We want to hear from you. We want to know what you like, what you want to hear, what you want us to change, all kind of stuff. So I think we're going to have a great time. I really do. I think it's going to be interesting. If you've ever watched WHW, watch What Happened When with Tony Schiavone and Conrad Thompson. It's going to be kind of the same format. I know they have a lot more back and forth banter and comedy stuff with that, and we will too, I'm sure. But especially as we get going and the nerves settle down and we get kind of comfortable and all this stuff. But neither one of us really do camera work, so if we're not making eye contact the whole time, we'll be watching the show down below the camera here just a little bit, maybe looking off the side. That's the recordings, and so got a lot of stuff going on. But anyway, hope you guys enjoyed the first episode of WHW Watch Along Wrestling. Look for our social media accounts on Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, all that stuff. Just Google WAW. We have a Discord. I'd like everybody to go to the Discord and join that. You can find our link tree on TikTok and Instagram and stuff. So just click on the link tree and subscribe to all of our YouTube and all that stuff. So anyway, enough rambling from me. I'm going to take a quick break. We'll come back. Sean will be joining me, and we will kick off with WWE Monday Night Raw. So make sure you go ahead and get your Peacock set up and ready to go. We'll give you a countdown, and we'll get rocking and rolling. Thanks, guys. Hey, are you looking for the latest in horror and action movie news? Then join Mike and Jay with We Watched a Movie.
Oh, did you feel? You didn't even feel it, huh? Yeah. Oh my God, I am fucking. Oh, Dark Loomis's place.
You can follow them on Instagram, YouTube, Patreon, Spotify, and more. Just Google We Watched a Movie and enjoy as their 20-plus year friendship comes to life as these 2 crazy guys explore the movie world with watch-alongs, comedy skits as Michael Myers and Dr. Loomis, movie news, and much more. Again, that's We Watched a Movie with Mike and Jay. Alright, welcome back to WAW. Like I said, go ahead and fire up your Peacock machine and get ready to go for WWF Monday Night Raw, Season 1, Episode 1, January the 11th, 1993. Before we get going, though, go ahead and bring in my oldest. This is Sean. Sean, say hi. He has never seen any of this stuff, so he's going to be seeing this for the first time as we go along. Don't worry about making eye contact with the camera. Just watch the show. Don't watch yourself over here and all that stuff. But we're going to give you a countdown. We'll say 3, 2, 1, play, just like you would do on WHW with Tony Schiavone and Conrad Thompson. We're going to watch the first episode of Monday Night Raw. Then we're going to watch the first episode of WCW Monday Nitro. We'll talk to him throughout the whole thing, kind of get his thoughts and his opinions on stuff, what he's liking, what he's not, which show he liked better, and all that good stuff. So, you ready?
Ready if you are.
All right. Press play in 3, 2, 1. So right now you should have the opening credit with WWF Monday Night Raw. So if you don't know who that is, that's Bobby the Brain Heenan.
I've heard of him.
Bobby Heenan is one of the funniest commentators there's ever been. Him and Gorilla Monsoon, you've never seen or heard of Gorilla Monsoon, but him and Gorilla were just perfect together. They matched, they fed off each other. Bobby, you also hear him later on Nitro. He kind of jumped ship.
Mm-hmm.
So this is
they
how
connected, like, unlike the modern day.
Right. Well, so now the modern day announcers now, you've got Michael Cole and Pat McAfee that are great together. They are kind of like a Bobby Heenan and Gorilla. Yeah. So you know who that is? Randy Savage.
It's man, Randy Savage. Rob Bartlett.
Rob Bartlett. That was a disc jockey in New York. This is how the WWF looked in '93. Vastly different than what it looks like now. This is Coco Beware. He used to have a parrot on his arm. He'd come out and yeah.
So that early Fresh Prince haircut.
Yeah, exactly. I think you know who this is, don't you?
Yes.
Okay.
Yokozuna.
Yokozuna was a great big man.
Being a fan of The Rock and what he has done.
Yep.
I know how his family is. He comes from a long line of wrestlers.
Mm-hmm.
And Yokozuna was one, if not the most important one out of all of them. He really took the turning point when it came to wrestling.
Yeah, Yoko was smooth for a big guy. He didn't. Undertaker will go on to talk about how easy he was to work with, even his size. Like he'd give that big leg drop, which he'll probably do here, and like a feather, wasn't nothing.
Coming from that Samoan family of,
yep,
all those great men and women who have wrestled.
My main thing too on this, if you listen to, they try so hard to do comedy with
and that's the
Vince
thing.
And Rob, and Vince has got that horrible laugh.
Here's that thing. Vince, his laugh is annoying.
Yes.
I've heard him multiple times laugh throughout his career of working in WWE.
I think his voice, his wrestling voice, is, oh my God, it was just horrible.
So energetic, it's almost painful to hear.
Look how small this is.
Yes.
I mean, there might have been, I don't know, maybe
couple thousand?
No, maybe 1,000. There might have been 1,000 people at this. So, give you a little bit of context while this is going on. back then they had a show called Prime Time, which
I've heard of it.
was a collection of stuff that was just recorded like house shows. It was recorded at just different events, and they would put together. And Bobby Heenan and Gorilla, that's a great shot. That's just one of them. Bobby Heenan and Gorilla Monsoon would go back and forth. They would commentate on it and all that stuff. Well, it was kind of falling flat as the 80s kind of died out and the 90s were coming in. They originally, to cut costs, were going to build their own arena to have 500 people, 1,000 people, and shoot Raw each night or each week. They were going to shoot 3 or 4 episodes, kind of build it up. They decided to go to the Manhattan Center, the ballroom, I think is what this one was, in New York City. This is like, they had to take freight elevators to get all the ring stuff in, so it didn't really prove financially to be great. But this is what they're trying to do.
It's what they had to work with.
For cost-cutting stuff, so.
And that's the thing. Yokozuna, if I remember correctly, at his prime weight was and you could correct me on this, 600 pounds.
Oh yeah, he was up in 600-700 pounds.
And the man can pull his weight. He knows how to balance it.
Oh yeah, he was great.
He can apply force wherever he needed. So a guy like that, I'm gonna say he ran around at most 170 maybe.
Coco, yeah. 200, 210 probably.
Close around to that range. So going against a guy like Yokozuna is a challenge.
Oh yeah, definitely.
And that's another thing, because coming from the martial arts side of it, Yokozuna uses his weight to his advantage. The more weight a person has, the more damage they can take.
Sure.
They basically their own ballistic gelatin skeleton around them.
Right.
He's gonna have to use some kind of tactic to knock him down, because 600 pounds is not easy to move around.
Did I ever tell you the story? Watch, here's the leg drop.
His famous leg drop, I know about that.
So, yeah, it's a butt drop. So, when I first found out that wrestling was a show, a sport, but it's still a show, entertainment.
Yeah.
Myself, I was probably about 5 years old. Me, your nana, and your papa.
Oh, gosh.
We were going to a high school gym to watch wrestling. I think it was in Morristown, Tennessee. The main event that night was a guy named Wildcat Wendell Cooley against Dirty Dutch Mantell. And on the way to the show, I look over to my right, and there's a gray Cadillac pulling beside of us. And I look over, and there is Wildcat Wendell Cooley driving a car. Next to him is Dirty Dutch Mantell. And they were supposed to be enemies, and they were going to fight that night. And so that's when Nana and Poppy first said, okay, look, this is entertainment, it's sport, but
for show.
They're fans, they're friends. So when I learned that, after Smoky Mountain Wrestling and Continental Wrestling, which you've never heard of either one of those.
Smoky Mountain Wrestling, I've heard of.
Have you?
Yes.
When they would get over at the Knoxville Civic Coliseum when the show was over, we learned the only place open back then was Waffle House.
As it is.
At 10 o'clock at night or midnight or whatever it was. We would go to the Waffle House, and all these wrestlers would be there eating. If I had thought of it, I should have had autographs and stuff back then. But all right, so Yoko just squashed Coco Beware, not, well, literally and figuratively, I guess. Now you've got an ad for the Royal Rumble.
Oh, goodness.
And we might watch it. I mean, Royal Rumble's that's my favorite pay-per-view every year. I love the Rumble.
I love Royal Rumble too, but I have old cases of old wrestling matches. Hell in a Cell. We got War Games out in the hallway. I love those because it's old school. It's more, what's the word?
So
exhilarating.
Yeah, Hell in a Cell is really not old school because it kind of long after WCW and all that.
Well, that one's an older Hell in a Cell match.
Yeah.
Before it was called Hell in a Cell.
But now War Games and stuff. Yeah, we'll watch some War Games.
Love.
So they're trying to be edgy, I guess, with women like this, but they had to be family friendly still too. And so I love the hair, the '90s hair, the big.
Oh gosh, the glam rock hair.
Yeah. All right, let's listen for a minute. I love the pink shirt.
I know, right? Pink shirt with the bedazzles and the black suit. A black satin suit at that.
So, the narcissist, well, turns out to be it's Lex Luger.
Mm-hmm.
And okay, so do you know who these guys are?
I've seen them before. I just don't know their names. That's the thing. I recognize the face guard
So
for
just
wrestling.
so just to give you a time cue, we're 11 minutes and 37, 38, 39.
But yeah, I recognize that because, of course, one of my brothers wrestles.
So, right. Yep. So he is. We're looking at the Steiner brothers. This is Rick and Scott
Okay,
Steiner.
now that you say their name, I know who they are.
Easily one of the top 5 tag teams ever in wrestling. No BS. You get in there, they would hurt you. I mean, they would hit you as hard as but they were good. They were smooth,
Mm-hmm.
but they would toss you around like you were just both of them amateur wrestlers from Michigan. And this would be probably a quick match because Scott Steiner and Rick, they'll just
Throw them around like bags.
Yep. And the thing with WWE back then was very cartoony, as you can see with the clown in the background.
Oh, yeah.
And then it gets very career oriented, like they have a dumpster, Duke the Dumpster Drosy, who's a garbage man, and they have a dentist, which
Oh, God.
the dentist is actually Kane or Glenn.
Yeah. Which, for those watching, is the mayor of where we live.
Yeah, Glenn Jacobs. Kane is the mayor of Knox County, where we live. Rick Steiner, his nickname is the Dog-Faced Gremlin.
He kind of looks like a dog, to be
Exactly.
honest. I mean, no offense to Rick,
You
but
say he looks like a dog?
yes. He has that sad, droopy look, kind of like a bloodhound.
So he just throws and the guy just falls into the ropes. He don't even.
Mm-hmm. And these ain't small men. I mean,
No, I mean.
compared to me, they're freaking giants.
Oh yeah.
Compared to you, even by standards.
Well, yeah. I'm not a tall guy.
Oh. Right into the post. So, the post back then, were
Mhm.
they similar to what we have now for WWE?
Yeah, you talking about the
padding.
pads? Oh yeah.
Padding and what's behind the padding.
Yeah, 100%. Same thing today. They're just the turnbuckles they've got. They're filled with stuffing or padding.
Because I've seen them break before, and people get cut up from them and stuff. I think I saw that in WWF.
Mm-hmm. That's what this is. This is WWE, WWF, same thing. They just changed.
It was
the name.
either WWF or WCW. One of those where a guy got cut up from the post.
So, okay, you're talking. Okay, so that was AEW.
Okay.
You're talking about FTR. Where
Yeah.
he got his arm sliced open from the ring post. God.
Oh.
These two guys, they were so strong back then.
Yeah. And that's the thing. In the early 80s and 90s, steroids was very rare to see in stuff like this. It was starting to come in.
Oh, no. 80s and early 90s. Steroids, especially in the 80s, it was crazy. But we're not going to get into all that stuff. That's...
Because that's a touchy topic.
We don't want to get in on that.
Especially nowadays.
We're not going to speculate who was or who wasn't on steroids. Now, the 90s are kind of slugging. They did have Vince McMahon, and the WWF did, had to go to trial. They tried to throw him in prison.
Well, it's Vince McMahon. He's been accused of a
go.
lot of things. Oh, goodness. The first drag queen of WWF.
Yeah, really. All right, guys, we've got a commercial break coming up here on Peacock. So we'll have a commercial break here on WAW. And right after the break, we'll be back with more action with Razor Ramon. We hope you're enjoying the content here on WAW, and if you are, check out other wrestling podcasts like Something to Wrestle With Bruce Pritchard, The Orange Show, 83 Weeks with Eric Bischoff, What Happened When with Tony Schiavone, and all the other great podcasts under the Conrad Thompson umbrella. You can check those podcasts out on YouTube, Patreon, ad-free shows, Spotify, and basically anywhere you get your podcasts. All right. Razor Ramon, who one of the best workers ever. You will recognize him probably more with WCW because later he goes to WCW and he's part of the NWO.
Yeah.
He's one of the founding members of the NWO. And I'm going to apologize on the broadcast. I don't know. I want to be able to find out how to put audio like from some of these interviews in to listen to. Don't know how to do that yet. So while Razor Ramon is talking, and of course he's talking about Bret Hart WWF Championship, we're at time queue of 16 minutes and 57, 58, 59, 17 minutes. So while they're talking about this, I want to talk to you guys a little bit about a streams that me and Sean both watch. It's called the Academy Roleplay. Now, the Academy Roleplay, they played a modded server on GTA on 5M. They are hilarious. It's a great bunch of people, a great community on there. So go to Twitch, type in Officer Messer or its_Benhammer.
Or Bobby Ray Gray. Smitty, Deputy Smitty, Marshmallow 120123, Officer Thacker.
I can't remember all these, but he can rattle them off. They stream all week long. Somebody's always streaming. They are a great community. Very
if
funny.
any of y'all want to find me or him, go to Hammers and you'll find him sometimes. And I'm always either in Thacker's, Bobby's, or Marshmallows.
What's your Twitch name?
My Twitch name is HallsHigh573, all one word, all lowercase.
Mine is Brandon SL26. Like he said, I'm always in Hammer's chat most of the time.
If he's
Sometimes
not,
I'm in Messer's.
he's doing something else.
Yeah, but most of the time we're always in there.
You can say hi, talk to us. We don't care.
All right, so Razor's running his mouth still. Now that's Owen Hart.
I know
That's
who
Bret
that
Hart's.
is.
Okay.
I ain't that old.
You wasn't even
Or young. That young.
You wasn't even alive when this was. You wasn't even thought of.
Yeah, it was
You wasn't even
1989, and I was born in 2006. So
No, it's 1993.
Oh, okay. So I'm behind on time.
He had the worst fake accent.
It's a little bit of Russian and Croatian.
I don't know. He's trying to be.
I can hear the Croatian in there.
Yeah, but he's like. a redneck.
I mean, yeah, it's a Croatian, Russian, and a little bit of Puerto Rican. It sounds awful, to be honest.
I mean, it worked for him. He tried to take like from Scarface and a bunch of other stuff. It worked for him, but
He's trying to. I know where he's coming from. He's trying to get that Italian American accent
Exactly.
from the early '60s.
when he was in WCW before this, he was working as the Diamond Stud. I mean, he just did not have much of a
Character.
gimmick really at all, because it was kind of floundering. Hey, real quick too, before any matches come back up, I want to say any commercial breaks that we have, we'll run little ads of people. None of them are sponsors. None of them. They're all stuff
No,
that
we're just
I
trying
like.
to help them out.
Yeah.
If they wanted us to sponsor them, they would have came to us and freely asked.
Yeah, nobody's a sponsor, so anything that we throw in here ad wise, it's just stuff that I like. Like I said, the Academy stuff we both like, so check them out. The Talk Scary to Me, the different podcasts with Conrad Thompson. I mean, there'll be all kind of stuff on here, but that's okay. So this is Max Moon.
Goodness, that outfit.
Yeah, crazy looking.
He reminds me of New Day.
It kind of reminds me of a Power Ranger.
Power Ranger. I don't know. He's like a. He's
Ah.
like. Ugh.
You know who this is, I think.
I know who it is. I just don't know the name. That's the thing. I know the face, just not the name.
It's Shawn Michaels. Easily, one of the best in-ring performers. Period. Hands down.
The one guy I share a name with.
Right. Yeah. You were actually we were going to name you Shawn Michael Lewis, but
I remember you telling me this
yeah,
story.
we
to
already
me.
had a Michael in our family, so.
Oh yeah, we did.
Next week's episode, I don't know if it'll be you with me or one of the other kids, but we're going to do 4 or 5 collection of matches of his when he came back from a back injury. Which I think when he came back from his back injury, he was 100% better than what he is right now, and he's still great.
And that's the thing with these guys. The training they go through is insane sometimes.
Oh yeah, it's crazy. Especially now.
I'm going to use Stone Cold as an option. He has had surgery on his knee, surgery on his back. I'm thinking his neck. I can't remember correctly.
Oh yeah, he breaks it. He got his neck broke.
He's had surgery on a lot of things, and his last match was insane. Same with The Undertaker. His last match was incredible.
Wrestling before this was all the big men.
Mm-hmm.
The Hogans, the Barbarians, the Warriors.
The Big Shows, guys like Big Shows and Mark Henry.
Big Show and Mark Henry wasn't even thought of on this yet. This is way before their time. So they were more power moves all the time, clotheslines, body slams, stuff like that. So WWF started getting away from that.
More heavyweight men.
Yeah. And they started gravitating towards smaller men.
Middleweight or lightweight or featherweight.
Right. And so you'll start seeing more athleticism come in, where they're doing the flips and the off the top, and which they had off the top rope stuff back then in the 80s because they had Randy Savage and Ricky Steamboat,
difficult.
stuff like that. So,
because with having bigger guys wrestle, they exert more energy.
yeah, I mean their matches,
Do their moves.
They weren't the best things in the world, but they were great for what time they were.
And again, it's entertainment. I mean, you're gonna enjoy it anyways.
Yeah,
Or try to at least.
WWF always has tried to have something for everybody. Sorry guys, we had a commercial break right in the middle of the match, so we'll have to work on how to get that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
You had a question.
Yeah, so I was watching this and noticed for the time period, what was the presence of female wrestlers being in this business?
Okay, so in the 80s, there were some female wrestlers, but they were kind of, and I don't mean this to sound the way it's going to be, and I apologize.
We're not trying to be sexist or anything.
No, it was more of a let me up, go use the bathroom type thing, because they didn't really get the time that they needed. You had, Sherry Martel, that was great. She was a great female wrestler. You had Wendy. I can't remember her name. My mind just went blank. Anyway, female
We're just
wrestlers in
gonna
the
call her Wendy.
80s and the 70s and 80s, they didn't get a lot of respect really. So they had more managers back in the 80s that were female.
I know that.
And then in the 90s, they were like Alundra Blaze or Medusa. Great female wrestler, but didn't get a lot of match time. She wasn't, her matches might be 5 minutes, 4 minutes. They didn't get a lot of respect. Really and honestly, until
Early 2000s.
no, not even then. Early 2000s.
Oh, wow. Wow.
So WWF went to the Attitude Era, right? So the early 2000s and late 90s was TNA.
Mm-hmm.
They wanted them to come out showing their boobs, showing their butts, showing all this stuff. That's how women were perceived in wrestling. Sex symbols. So not really until mid 2000s, maybe the late 2000s, they started getting traction. You had, Alexa Bliss, Charlotte Flair, Sasha Banks.
Well, Ronda Rousey was
Ronda,
UFC and
but
at that
even
time.
so, back in the Attitude Era, still and the Ruthless Aggression Era, you had Lita, you had Trish Stratus, who were great. So they still wouldn't get a whole lot of time until Lita and Trish main evented a Raw. Was a great match. So they started getting a little bit of respect. Then it would fall off, and they would kind of be afterthoughts again.
Mm-hmm.
But it wasn't until probably mid to late 2000s, probably maybe 2016, 17, maybe something like that.
Because I remember
that they started.
I can't remember when
letting
year
women
this
wrestle
was.
more.
Yeah, I can remember. I can't remember the year. I remember Stephanie McMahon coming on stage and announcing that the women would start having their own division of belts.
Yeah.
So they would have women's tag team.
Right. I mean, the women never had a Royal Rumble until a few years back.
And I remember watching that video on the TV. I think it was that TV there. It's, white belt, blue.
Yeah.
Says women's on it.
See, now wrestling back here, it was more hold oriented. Like they would grab a hold.
Submission hold.
Yeah, they'd grab a sleeper hold or an arm bar. And it was kind of a slower pace too. It wasn't
or a leg
real
lock,
fast
something
paced
like that.
Yet, I mean, it would get there. Shawn Michaels would start picking up pace, but you stop and go, stop and go. It was storytelling. You beat your opponent down, but you're not done yet. They kick out. And just real quick, time. We're at 27, 30, 31, 32, 33. And the Icro Pro, it was a Vince McMahon thing. He tried.
A whole sponsor for him.
He had a weightlifting thing he was trying to do. And then Icro Pro was supplement and stuff that they partnered with.
And again, we're not going to go into all that kind of stuff because that's a topic for another day.
So we can talk about Vince. We're just not going to get into the negative
part of it.
The current negative stuff of it. We're not going to get into all that.
Yeah, because in most recent years, a lot of allegations have come out and stuff.
Yeah, we're not going to talk about
I'd rather not.
Because Vince is going to be a huge
part of the 80s and 90s and early 2000s.
Even more in the 90s. Because his character's on TV, so he's going to be a huge part of this. And wrestling back then, I mean, you look, it's not overly lit. You don't have a lot of lighting.
Mm-hmm. It's very dimmer.
And when we watch older NWA, WCW stuff, it's going to be even more
And that's what I noticed. Most of the lighting is focused on the ring.
Exactly. And I like that.
It gives it more of a...
But I like to see the fans' reaction. But
yeah. Because I can barely see, like, the very back row up there. The row that they're showing.
Yeah, yeah.
Oof.
So one thing I want you to listen to is listen to the sound of the ring.
Mm-hmm.
And then when we watch the WCW, listen to the sound of their ring. The WWE rings, or WWF rings, were notorious for being like concrete.
Mm-hmm.
Like they did not have a lot of give to them. I mean, you see it bounce, but the landings and stuff.
Even now, you see that bounce.
Oh yeah, well, the rings now are totally different. They're a lot. They still hurt, but they're not nowhere near.
I can remember during a WrestleMania, Triple H had a match, and the guy he was going against suplexed him off a rope into the ring, and it just kind of buckled.
Yeah.
And then guys like that, Triple H, Brock Lesnar, those are some big dudes. They can pull the round way and throw it around like nothing.
Hey, real quick, another commercial break apparently here. That kind of snuck up on me too. Oh no, this is still Raw. Never mind. My bad.
It's one of their little things that they do.
Yeah, it's one of their little. I have no idea what WWF Mania is. I've never seen the first episode of that.
I don't know either. It's something I have
Damien
never heard of.
Demento and The Undertaker. Still coming up.
Again, Undertaker, one of my favorite wrestlers of all time.
Now we've got a commercial break. We'll be back with you guys in just a few moments. Hey guys, you've heard me talk about the Academy Roleplay with Officer Messer and Banhammer. But to be honest, there are so many other great streamers inside that community as well. Now they call it The City. But inside the city, there's people like Bobby Ray Gray, Trooper_Slivers, X Smithers, Decipher, Courtesy Flush 32, and so many more amazing streamers inside that city. Look them up on Twitch. Just type in the Academy Roleplay once you go to twitch.com. And if you ever need a break from life or just want to relax and forget about everyday stuff, trust me, all these amazing content creators, all these amazing men and women will do just that. Together they have built a community that is simply amazing. They are fun, loving, caring, and basically just a family. Believe me, they'll treat you just such as well. Check them out again, like I said, twitch.com, and type in the Academy Roleplay, and all those great streamers will pop up for you. Alright guys, welcome back to WAW. We got an ad here for the Royal Rumble report. Time queue 31, 07, 08, 09. And take a listen here to Mean Gene Okerlund.
Oh, gosh.
Former tag team partners, the Rockers. Shawn Michaels turned on that guy, who is Marty
And
Jannetty.
that era of belt is such amazing belt.
I like the blue. Yeah, I like the blue.
And you have it right there hanging up on the wall.
Yeah, that's the
It's close enough.
updated version of it.
It's close enough. But the blue is a nice touch.
It kind of what he's talking about here is I have a wall, and that's not all my belts. After the network logo, there's 4 more, 5, 6, and then the one back behind me. So I've got about 7 or 8 belts.
There's a bunch.
So anyway, that's what he's talking about.
Ugh, they're really bad Patrick Swayze mullets.
Oh, I know. What? And promos too back then are totally different. Now, back then they were hollering all the time. Like the Ultimate Warrior, he made no sense when he. Okay, guys, we're going to skip ahead a little bit because I am not going to go through all 30 of these guys and sit here. So we're going to skip ahead. I'll give you a time cue. Sorry about the mouse clicking. I know you can hear it on the stream. Oh, good Lord.
It's a lot of guys.
All right. Time cue 36:35, 36:36.
Jewish rabbi costume. That guy really wants to get inside.
Bobby was so funny. So like All-Star Wrestling too. It was just clips of stuff that they would smash together. All right, another commercial break. We'll be back with you guys in just a minute. We've all been there. Sometimes after a good hard workout or a good run, sometimes we need a little bit of a pick-me-up. Well, let me introduce you to Ghost. Ghost in its simplest form is the world's first lifestyle sports nutrition brand. And Ghost has an amazing line of products from energy drinks, pre-workout, post-workout, gaming powders, gaming sticks, hydration drinks, which I absolutely love, the kiwi strawberry and the orange squeeze, two of my favorites. They also have hydration powders, hydration sticks, and all of these come in multiple flavors. And of course they have much more stuff on their website, ghostlifestyle.com. They have hats, t-shirts, shakers, and much more. Now you can pick up your Ghost products at Amazon, GNC, Walmart, Kroger, and like I said, ghostlifestyle.com. Go to the website for all your Ghost needs. Tickets. Tickets back then for front row might have been $100.
Whew.
Maybe. Well, now they're like $600.
I'd rather pay $100 than $600.
Any day.
And especially since don't we have wrestling coming soon here?
No, we don't have anything planned.
Oh, really?
Mm-mm.
I thought we did. Oh, that Randy Savage outfit.
Oh, Randy was great.
I remember his outfit for Slim Jim.
Oh, yeah.
His whole Slim Jim promotion. Ooh, yeah, snap into a Slim Jim.
You got in here. Grab one behind you there and snap into it.
Pass it over
You're
here.
behind over here. Grab you. Take your ear out. Don't rip your earbud out.
I ain't gonna rip my ear out.
This is Kamala, not to be confused with
The other one.
Kamala Harris.
Let's not get into that.
No, we're not going to do politics. We ain't going to talk about that stuff.
Want one?
No, I don't. No, I'm good. Like I said, guys, we're not planning anything
Political.
on here. We're just talking about whatever, and he's going to eat a Slim Jim, apparently. No sponsorship. Not sponsored by Slim Jim at all. So that's Slick. That's Kim Chi, and that's Harvey Wippleman. And that's the Ugandan giant Kamala. Who was a good wrestler. I mean, again, it was a kind of a weird, kind of a gimmick. But he was a good wrestler.
I've heard of him.
Smacking his belly and everything, but...
And that's another thing. Places like Uganda and any place in Africa produce some of the best fighters ever.
But he's not really from Uganda. He is, I think, from Atlanta.
You're kidding.
No, or something. He's not. He's...
Great character, though.
Back then, they would portray character just because that's something that it would get over. It would, okay, you're on camera eating like a... Did you forget you're on camera?
It's fine.
Okay, anyway. Main event, I believe, of Monday Night Raw. I think. This is the main event. Yeah, Undertaker and... That Vince laugh. Alright, so since this is the Undertaker, let's watch this and kind of go through the match a little bit.
That outfit.
This is the... I think I had a stroke. This is the original Undertaker outfit. I mean,
It's such a
It's like
good
a-
aesthetic.
yeah, it's like the old Western style Undertaker.
What it reminds me of is the old school pallbearer outfits.
Mm-hmm.
old school Western pallbearer. If you've ever seen any movie like Tombstone or any of that, they have outfits like that.
You see that urn? I'm going to have that urn in about a week, sitting on back here somewhere.
And of course, we have the man himself. I'm talking about Undertaker, his,
Oh, pallbearer.
pallbearer.
Not that. I'm sorry, not that urn. That's not the urn I'm thinking.
That's not the urn. You're thinking of the silver one.
No, it's the gold one. Just I think they call it the legacy urn. Is what they called it. Mountain Dew, Diet Mountain Dew, not a.
None of the hats we're wearing, Tennessee, BRG.
Yeah, that's another thing. The Academy Roleplay stuff, BRG, they have merch, all that stuff. So
great products. Love this hat. I know you've got some stuff in the back there from them.
So back then, the Undertaker character he stayed in character 24/7. Anytime he was in the public eye, he was wearing all black. He wouldn't talk to people. I mean, he was very character driven. Paul, he's so funny. So it was hard for him because if he got an injury, he couldn't take time off because he didn't feel pain.
Yeah.
So he would
wrestle during energy.
Wrestle hurt. He would wrestle banged up,
which
broken
is
bones.
not, as we figured out, for any wrestler, pro or entertainment is not good for you.
No, that's not.
Any sport.
Back then, though, if you didn't work, you didn't get paid. They don't have guaranteed
that's
contracts.
True.
Back
If you
then.
didn't work, you didn't get paid.
And this character Undertaker was so slow, like everything was just slow motion. I love this Undertaker character. We'll watch the debut of the. We'll do a Undertaker collection or something, and we'll watch the debut.
And I can remember his wrestling days back when I was growing up. They were so good, in my opinion.
Back when he was growing up.
I was born in 2006, y'all. I ain't that young looking.
You are very young looking. Anyway, I think the Undertaker stuff, like I said, in the 2000s, and where he had some great matches. Shawn Michaels, Randy Orton.
Classic Tombstone.
Yep.
And as we all know, if you've ever seen the Undertaker wrestle, the Tombstone is his signature.
You're done.
You're done, and there's the famous eye roll of his.
So he used to also, after he beat him, he would put them in body bags.
Mm-hmm.
What I love, but it took up so much time, I guess.
My favorite wrestling scene of his is when he came out in the coffin that one year.
Mm-hmm.
They had guys carrying him out in an actual coffin. Loved that scene.
All right, guys. I don't think we need to watch. Let's see.
The whole Woody Allen thing.
Oh no, not that. So Doink the Clown's coming up next for another interview, and that's pretty much the end of it. Let's skip through just.
Oh god.
Yeah, I mean it. So I don't think.
Like you said, it's cartoonish at times.
It's very cartoonish. WWE, WWF. Let's listen to Bobby one last time here. Time cue is 45, 47, or 57, I'm sorry. Let him go, the show's over. So, okay. That was WWF Monday Night Raw, first episode. Honest opinion. Don't get on here and lie.
I'm not.
What did you think of that show?
Honestly, not coming from someone who's never seen WWF, only clips that you've showed me, and small little shorts on YouTube. It's
On a scale from 1 to 10, what would you rate that show?
I would rate it
10
a 10.
10 being great.
A 10.
Really?
It's better,
See?
in my opinion, than what we have nowadays, obviously.
So that show for me was like a 3.
The show itself, a 3. Just
So-
the entertainment part of it,
And-
the funniness of it, the comedy of it.
Reason being
That's why I give it a 10.
is, so growing up, we're in the South.
Mm-hmm.
I was never a big WWF fan. I was a WCW fan.
And
So I did
WCW
not
is everywhere
really
here.
watch WWF programming that much. Like the first WWF pay-per-view I remember seeing was the SummerSlam. Randy Savage and Elizabeth got married. That's the first one I remember. So I liked Hulk Hogan, but I was never a big Hulkmania. I don't remember watching the first Raw. I don't remember watching a lot of Raw. We got it. It just wasn't my style of wrestling. To me, NWA/WCW, kind of the same thing, was always more realistic.
It was
more,
bigger. It's more
yeah,
predominant.
like they
here
were getting
in
in,
the
they
South.
were beating the crap out of each other. That's what you would think. All right, so again, to me, WWF Raw, the first episode, not a huge fan. If wrestling now, the wrestling style is more fast paced than that, so it's a little bit more entertaining than that would be. But again, I was just not a big WWF fan. So I'm going to show him, and we'll show it on here, the intro to WWF Raw back then in '93, and we're also going to look at the WCW Nitro. I don't want you to look at the vast difference between these two, okay? This is WWF. Then they would fade to the crowd and pyro would start going off.
Wow.
So, which one of those is better?
Personally, when it comes to
Just give me, which one did you like better, Raw or Nitro?
Raw,
Really?
yeah,
Oh my gosh. How can you...
I'm only saying that for one reason.
Why?
Because with Nitro, it feels like they're wanting to be, what's the word? All up in your face when it comes to the intro.
That's what they wanted, because they wanted you to get hyped.
It's a very stimulating
Exactly.
intro.
They wanted you, so on Nitro, when it come on, they wanted it hot, live, and in your face.
Mm-hmm.
When Nitro, when that package plays,
Don't get me wrong, it's good.
when that package plays, all the explosions and everything, then they would go to the arena and have pyro.
Mm-hmm.
So the fans would just be on their feet screaming, hollering. And they pump the crowd before the cameras come on too. But that's for me why WCW Nitro was better than Raw. Now, granted, this is 2 years apart. That was January of '93. WCW Monday Nitro is going to be September of 1995. So there's 2 years difference. So I'll tell you what, let's do. We're going to take a quick break. We'll come back. Then we'll kick off WCW Monday Nitro. Join Officer Messer in the Academy Roleplay on Twitch as he brings hilarious content through the Academy. Officer Messer, who is on a mission to bridge the gap of law enforcement and the community by humanizing the badge, is the owner of the Academy Roleplay, also known as TARP.
I'm bored to death chasing this guy. He was driving faster when we weren't chasing him. It's a bit of a tap here. We'll get us going, brother. A little bit of a tap here. No, don't do it. Don't do it.
Continuing East Joshua Road.
I was joking. Oh my God, I'm gonna get banned from the server. Hey, chat, don't clip that, please. Don't clip that. Can you start a truck to 7354? This guy lost control of his vehicle. We were getting some donuts from the gas station and hit one of the pumps. Hey, champ, can you walk that one off? Come on, bud. Just walk. Come on, let's get you out. Let's walk that one off. If you let this ride, I'll throw 200,000.
Guys, I found his TikTok one night and have been hooked ever since. His crazy, goofy, and sometimes soft-served antics will definitely give you a break from everyday life and give you a good laugh at the same time. Check out Officer Messer on Twitch and TikTok, and let's bridge the gap together. Hello everyone, welcome back to WAW. Hope you enjoyed the first half with WWF Monday Night Raw. The second half is going to be WCW Monday Nitro, so go ahead on Peacock, go ahead and go to the WCW section, go down to Nitro, click on Season 1, Episode 1 of Monday Nitro. So, Sean, just to give you a little bit of backstory, WCW was running their shows on WCW Saturday night, 6:05 Eastern on TBS. They would have pay-per-views. Pay-per-views back then, though, were not January, February, March, April, May. You may have 4, maybe 5 back then. So pay-per-views are kind of a big thing. WCW would also have what's called Clash of the Champions every maybe 2 or 3 months too. And we'll watch some of those too. But WCW really was not competitive with WWF financially. To me, WCW was always better than the WWF. WWF was cartoonish, over the top, theatric type stuff, and WCW was more reality based. NWA was more reality based. When they attacked somebody, when the Four Horsemen would attack Dusty Rhodes and break his arm, you literally thought they broke his leg or whatever. You literally thought they did it. When the Road Warriors hit Dusty Rhodes with a spike in the head, you thought they spiked him, and you thought it really happened. So for me, WCW was better. Production value, WWF was always kind of a step ahead. Before Nitro, WCW was always kind of dim lit. You see smoke-filled arenas, stuff like that. Eric Bischoff came along, and Ted Turner said, "Eric, what do we have to do to compete with the WWF?" Eric Bischoff told him, "Give me prime time on Monday nights." Eric Bischoff was not prepared to answer the question. It was just something he spouted out because he didn't know what else to say. So Ted Turner, owning the network, said, "Sure, here you go." Now, do you even know who Ted Turner is?
Yeah, I've heard the name.
Okay.
I've heard you talk about it before.
Ted Turner was a billionaire. He had more money than God. And so Ted Turner loved wrestling. So he gave him Monday Nitro, TNT, Monday night prime time. Nitro started as 1 hour episodes, eventually went to 2 hours and 3 hours, which I think a wrestling show for 3 hours is like a downfall. I cannot watch a 3 hour show every week
I
like that.
couldn't watch a 3 hour show either.
Yeah, it drags. But anyway, they wanted Nitro to be live, which WWF Raw was not. It was live every other week or every 2 weeks because they would tape shows in advance. Nitro was live. The first Nitro, they wanted it to be different, so it did not come to you in an arena like wrestling. So the first Nitro is going to be in the Mall of America. So it's in a mall. It looks amazing on TV. So, all right, let's watch it. WCW Monday Nitro. Like I said, I'm a WCW guy, so I'm going to be talking more about this than I did on Raw. So here we go. Press play in 3, 2, 1. All right. Here's the opening. I know we just watched it, but we're going to let it play again. There you got Hogan dropping the leg. On this episode, you got Vader, who is gone from the company at this point, or soon thereafter. And you got Savage, and you got the explosions. Just production value, that's already, to me, better than Raw. They open up with an aerial shot.
I remember them doing that with a lot of stuff.
Look at that. That looks so cool on TV to me.
Just the point of camera angle looks amazing.
There's the Ken doll of wrestling, Eric Bischoff.
Oh, gosh. Michael looks like Steven Seagal.
Yeah, Steve, he does, doesn't it?
It's the hair and the glasses for me.
Now, they've done the same thing as WWE. Open in front of the crowds, talking, and
have the crowd behind him going nuts.
So that's kind of the same style. Bobby the Brain.
As usual, coming in and
he's already jumped ship to WCW.
stake into the show.
Mongo is a former football player, NFL football player.
That's why I heard his name before.
Prayers for Mongo. He is dealing with ALS. He is in really bad
I
shape.
forgot he was dealing with ALS.
Yeah, he is in really bad shape. So prayers for him and his family. All right. WCW was very good at bringing in wrestlers from other countries. They started the lucha style wrestling. Look, I mean, the fans with the escalators and standing around there. Production value, WCW went from like a 2 to a 50. I mean, they just exploded production value wise. And they're a TV company, so they're going to have a lot more. I mean, just that backdrop is cool looking to me. So I think right now they're already ahead of WWF production wise, just for their first show. So anyway, Jushin Thunder Liger is an awesome talent. He is a great wrestler, and he's going to be facing another guy that is phenomenal with Brian Pillman. Wrestling back then was still also flashy.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you had the sparkle outfits.
You had sparkle outfits. You had the big hair. You have
So
the
what do you?
tassels.
So what do you think on the look with the Mall of America? What do you?
Oh, freaking
you like
amazing!
It? You like that? This is the only time it ever happened. Now WCW would go to Panama City where they would have outdoor on the beach and stuff, and it's spring breaks, and so we'll watch some of that. Those were cool looking.
I've seen those spring break matches.
Have you? Have you watched them on YouTube or something? I guess.
No, they actually have them on Peacock.
Yeah, I didn't know you've actually watched them though.
Yeah, I watched one from, gosh, when was it?
It'd be in the 90s.
Yeah, the 90s. I don't know which year though. I think it was 93 that I watched.
No, Nitro wasn't around 93. Remember, this just started in 95.
So no, it wasn't.
You sure you're watching?
Yes, I'm sure.
You're just not going for the camera.
No, I know I watched it.
All right, so these guys, they start more high flying type stuff. Now, notice a couple things. The ring is smaller than WWE. WWE is a 20 by 20 ring. These were an 18 by 18 or 16 by 16. I can't remember.
It looks like a 16 by 16.
The ropes are even shorter than WWF's.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the reason WCW might have done that is to make their guys look bigger. Because Brian Pillman is not much taller than me.
You're what, 5 something?
5'7".
5'7". So
Pillman might have been 5'10", maybe. I don't know.
He's around 5'9", 5'10", maybe.
I can't remember, but he's not a big guy. And Jushin Thunder Liger isn't a big guy.
No, yeah, that's to be expected from him. I mean,
now WCW would not continue. Like, this is kind of a big venue, sort of. That's kind of a screw up there. Like, the next episode of Nitro is in a smaller arena. But the setup of Nitro is still one of my favorites today, which we'll show you that next episode that we watch of Nitro.
I think the biggest area that I've seen they had a wrestling match was when they did it in that NFL stadium a while back. I think it was like
100,000
2015.
I know, it wasn't 15, I don't believe. I think it was 2020 or 2021.
Yeah, I think that's the biggest one I have ever seen. When they had it in the NFL stadium, they had the pyros everywhere. That was a good one. Oof.
I always like this, the surfboard. You know it hurts, standing on the back of somebody's legs like this.
Oh, dude.
Putting all your weight on it.
Just watching it, my legs are hurting. The amount of leg strength you have to do that is insane. Just to hold a guy who's probably 100, or not 100, maybe 200 pounds.
No, Brian was probably about 180.
180? So,
175,
with your,
something like
just
that.
hold up that much weight on your legs, it takes a lot of effort.
So, one thing too, that Eric Bischoff wanted to do for Nitro, he wanted surprises. He wanted shock value. Lex Luger, well, we'll talk about it later.
All right.
We'll talk about it when it happens.
Are you sure?
Yeah, we'll talk when it happens.
So I do have a question.
Yeah.
The whole luchador movement in entertainment wrestling, when did it explode like crazy to where it is now?
ECW, Extreme Championship Wrestling, they started bringing in more people like that. But ECW was a smaller base. They had not grown like WCW. Eric Bischoff kind of stole the idea and started bringing in people from Mexico. So during the Nitro era is when it exploded. And they had probably the best matches on every card that they had. We'll watch like a Halloween Havoc pay-per-view with Rey Mysterio Jr., which you're a fan of.
Huge fan.
But you've never seen like his younger stuff. Phenomenal. So we'll watch some of that stuff too. But it's during this era, like 96, 97 stuff.
For those who are watching, I'm a fan of the high flyers, the athletic guys, and the heavy hitters.
Yep.
So guys like Big Show, Mark Henry, Luchadors.
I sure say Big Show and Mark definitely ain't high flyers.
No, I know they ain't high flyers.
Oh.
Ooh, that's gotta be painful. Going for a suplex?
Yep. Let's see, WCW didn't put a lot of money into this even at first too. I mean, the ring is kind of dingy looking.
Basically, like just
the mats around the outside were blue, dingy looking. They would up their production value on the rings, everything as it went on too.
The turnbuckles are this rubber yellow.
That
with
stayed.
blue.
So I actually like that better than I do WWS.
Really?
Yep.
Really?
Because
wow.
It's leather, so you hit it, it looks like it hurts worse. It doesn't.
It doesn't look like leather from the camera angle. It looks like rubber. Like,
yeah, it's leather.
Like latex almost.
So listen, later on, Sting has a match.
Ooh.
I want you to listen to, because these guys are kind of smaller. So I want you to listen when they get slammed on the ring, to Matt, how the difference. To me, WCW rings always sounded harder. You see how that sound just echoes?
It sounds like gosh, it just sounds like a
sounds like
2x4 hitting the ground.
Yeah, it sounds like they're just getting slammed through it. And I think it's because it was a smaller ring. I don't know.
What was the ring? This ring made of like plywood, maybe.
So steel, metal, and then plywood underneath. Yeah.
So that's what
Same,
you're hearing.
same as
plywood.
WWE's.
Yeah.
Back then too. It's a Hurricanrana. I like to call it the Frankensteiner because Scott Steiner really made it popular. I love this referee. This is Nick Patrick. WCW had they had some stupid looking refs. But they had some good ones. Him, Pee Wee Anderson. He'll be on here too.
Dude, that guy.
Charles Robinson. They were all really good. And Charles is still in WWE today.
The the ref or the announcer that we have now, she's good.
You mean the ring announcer?
Yeah.
Oh, you said ref. I don't know.
Or what?
The
Yeah.
ring announcer. Oh, she's amazing. She is great.
Well, she doesn't have that same feel as these older guys do.
Oh no, I like her better than the older.
Really?
The older ring announcers, yeah. Because everybody has their own specific entrance. Like she changes her voice and does her own type of stuff. Flying Brian, man, he was so good. He had a bad car accident. It messed his ankle up. He had to have a bunch of surgeries and stuff. He never could really recover from all that.
Mm-hmm. And that's to be expected if you're going to be in a business like this. Injuries are going to happen.
Well, yeah, that was a car wreck, though, but it was just really bad. I mean, a lot of these people probably had never seen wrestling.
Mm-hmm.
They probably weren't there for it. Now, the people sitting on the floor obviously were. But if you're in the mall and you walk by and you see it, you're going to stop and watch.
I don't know if this is accurate, but I went to my elementary school. They had a actual wrestling match of very, very minor wrestlers for a coupon as entertainment for a coupon sale.
Oh, really?
And it was one minor wrestler and then one semi big wrestler that came to the school. It was and I was sitting in the front row. It was
all right. Back with Monday Nitro. Quick time cue. We are at 11:29, 11:30, 31, 32.
That is just such a good background.
Yeah, and they had Kids R Us, or it was Toys R Us. And here we got Hulk Hogan at Pasta Mania is what it was called.
Oh my goodness.
They're trying to compare Pasta Mania to a steakhouse.
It just was weird. This is the Hulk Hogan I like. He hasn't really gotten into his voice that much in this era, has he?
Yeah, he just gotten older, so it's
It's got a rougher.
he would get
sounding.
raspier, yeah. Because he's yelling.
Yeah.
So that belt, that is the best
Looking.
world heavyweight title looking. Yeah, that is the belt.
I'm trying to see if you have a world heavyweight up here on the wall.
I've got a version of
You
it
got
right
that
there,
one.
but that's the WWE version of that.
Okay. You don't have that one.
I don't. I will eventually. I don't have that one yet. No. That was the original NWA, or not the original, but originally, that was the NWA World Title. And it just transitioned. All right, let's see what we got next. All right, this is Sting and Ric Flair. These two have wrestled. You know who they are. They've wrestled each other thousands of times.
They're like, it's like, can't have one without the other.
Exactly. They were great.
Like fire and water.
Ric Flair looking as only he could look. And Nature Boy. I love this era of robes that he had.
The type of robe he uses.
Yeah, I love these.
My favorite one was the blue and silver one.
His last one is
His
against
very
Shawn
last
Michaels.
one. Yes. That was such a nice one. The crowd loved that one.
Oh yeah, it was nice.
And again, this one's nice too.
So I know Sting's look here is very 80s and early 90s, and it would start changing a little more at a time. He would not have the blonde, flat topped hair. He'd let his hair grow out a little bit.
Dyed.
It is dyed now, but it would have just his natural color, and of course he was very flashy still then. This is when I started getting into wrestling. This is why is Sting.
Really?
Sting was so it was three people. Originally it was Bullet Bob Armstrong and Nightmare Danny Davis. Then when I started watching WCW, NWA, it was Sting. I have never not liked Sting. From the first time I've seen him up until he just retired earlier this year. Sting has always been. I've never seen a bad Sting match.
I had not either.
You've not seen hardly any Sting matches.
Well,
You've seen a couple.
I've seen a couple good ones, but those I've seen never been bad.
So I'll go ahead and tell everybody, like I said, Sting and Steve Austin are two. Okay, but we'll get back to that. So here's Lex Luger. The night before, he worked at a WWF show. He did not have a contract. So Sting and Luger were best friends. They were business partners, all this stuff. So Sting got Eric Bischoff to bring Lex back in. Eric Bischoff did not want to. He didn't like Lex. He actually lowballed Lex, gave him a very horrible offer. But it was a shock value. Oh my God, he was just on WWF. Now he's here. They're taking their people. So anyway, going back to what I was saying about Sting. Sting and Steve Austin and Shawn Michaels and The Undertaker. That's my Mount Rushmore. Ric Flair's great. You love to hate Ric Flair. But those four guys are my Mount Rushmore. So we will cover a lot of those four guys. Especially Sting. We'll probably cover a lot of his stuff as we go on. Sting and Vader, amazing matches. Vader beat the tar out of him.
And I've seen a clip of Vader wrestle, not a full one.
And Sting, they tried to turn him into a heel bad guy, and it never would work. The fans would never boo him. They tried it. I think that ring just sounds so different.
It really does. It has more of a thump to it.
Yeah. All right, let's watch this match because these two are always going to be good. Sting could always get the crowds hollering and get them pumped up.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of that has to do with his opponent, too. I mean, you're only as good as your partner in the ring, and Rick could make anybody look good back then.
That classic scream.
Sting was always WCW's main guy, like babyface good guy, until Hogan came in. And in my opinion, when that happened, WCW kind of put Sting on the back burner a lot until Sting changed his character up. I'll never forget. We were at the Knoxville Civic Coliseum. We had floor seats, me, your Nana and Bobby, and my cousin and a couple of us, for WCW Saturday night tapings. And they would do like 3, 4, 5 hour tapings, so they were long. I had a Sting hat. No, I had a Sting shirt. It was a white shirt. And they had this pill and stick face paint that you could buy. So I had this orange and blue face paint thing on.
I think I've seen pictures of that.
Did you?
I think I saw.
Yeah.
Because when we were moving Papa in, he had a bunch of boxes with pictures, and he pulled out a picture. And it had you, it had Nana, and it had you with the face paint.
If we can find that, I've got a lot of pictures. I'll get out and post them. Which I'm lucky y'all really care about me when I was a kid. But
And it's nice to see it, though. I mean, we've heard stories of how you were as a kid.
So same thing I said earlier about Vince McMahon and how, to me, he was annoying on commentary. Eric Bischoff is just as bad, I think. I was not a fan of Eric. And like I said, I don't mean to talk bad about him because I know he's going through a lot. I wasn't a fan of Mongo. For me, Tony Schiavone and Bobby Heenan were great. Larry Zbyszko was pretty good, but you'll hear him in other episodes too. That's the referee right there. That's Pee Wee Anderson. He is probably one of the best WCW referees. He's very animated.
I'm trying to think. The way his face is, he just reminds me of what's the actor who played Mrs. Doubtfire?
Robin Williams?
In the face, he looks a lot like Robin Williams.
I don't see that at all. I see...
It's the nose. If you look at the nose...
I don't see that. There's another actor who reminds me. I can't remember his name, though.
Just wanted to throw that out there.
All right, we'll be back in just a minute. Got another commercial break.
You can't touch this.
Yo, 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 it's hammer time. No, not that Hammer. I'm talking about It's Banhammer on Twitch. Join Hammer as he streams in the Academy Roleplay, also known as TARP, playing one of his hilarious characters. Maybe he'll be hitting the streets with Officer Messer as he plays Captain Streets.
That's crazy.
Hey, that's Isabel. That's the one that ran for us earlier. I just sent her down to the pen. Don't do this
Easy.
again.
Call it out.
Wrangler 1 we're being an active 1080, postal 8053, black and color, older Charger. Taking a right on off the street.
Oh, she can't drive that thing. Just stop now.
Wrangler 1 showing
Just found out.
active
8063, 8063, we're doing donuts on street. We're continuing now. Going up
Kilo
off
1's
the
in
street.
its secondary.
Kilo 1 will call it.
Signal 100 in effect at 2128.
Oh!
Oh, God.
Kilo 1's out of it.
Kilo 1, we quit.
Or maybe he'll be driving around the city in a taxi cab as old drunk Bill.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Turn it around.
Okay,
One.
go back. Go back. Go back.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Turn it around. Now what?
That's honestly not bad.
You want me to see you do it again? I'll do it. I'll do it as many times. I'll do 1, 2, turn
give
it
me one more.
around. 1,
That's
2,
not-
3, turn it around.
Or just maybe crackhead Darnell will be stirring up some trouble in the city.
Or go to the pin. Locked in or go to the pin. How locked in?
I'm locked in.
All right.
See? I'm locked in.
Darnell.
I'm locked in.
Darnell, take your hands off my hips.
Yeah, baby. Got me feeling some type of way. I can't live without you. You know that song off of Armageddon? What's that song? I'm leaving on a jet plane. I don't know when I'll be back.
Get off of me.
Now that's just 3 of his characters. Whether Hammer is playing a cop, civilian, or criminal, you can always count on him for some laughs. Hammer shares Officer Messer's goal in bridging the gap between law enforcement and the community, while also raising awareness on his streams for mental health. Now, I found Hammer during a very rough patch in my life, and he has given me plenty of content to help me get through all those rough days. You can follow him on TikTok and Twitch at its_banhammer. That's ITS_BANHAMMER, and enjoy all of his great content. Trust me, you'll thank me later. Time cue, in case you might be off, is 20, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, and 30. That's a Ric Flair staple. I don't think Ric Flair has maybe a handful of times ever actually done anything off the top rope. He always gets caught and slammed off the top.
Mm-hmm. Or he gets picked up and thrown.
Yeah, Flair's like the rag doll. He gets thrown around everywhere.
Ooh.
You know who that is? Yes or no? You know?
Yes, but not by name.
That's Arn Anderson. Arn Anderson has his own podcast too with Conrad Thompson. No, he doesn't have it with Conrad anymore. I can't remember who he has.
I was
it
about
with.
to say, did it? He's.
It's still under the same umbrella, but it's called Arn. Spotify, wherever you listen to podcasts.
Same
Patreon,
company.
all that stuff. Back then in wrestling, I mean, little moves like flipping over the top rope, you get people hollering and going on. Now you just about have to kill somebody to get them to scream and holler.
Now, it doesn't, there's not much that excites people. It gets them going like that.
Yeah, back then this would get the crowd pumped. You don't even see this anymore. Somebody hitting somebody 10 times on the rope is like that.
No.
Nobody does it anymore.
Nowadays, they've limited all kinds of stuff.
It's got, not that they've limited it, they just moved, they've got more athletic. They like to do the flips and the flops, and there's nothing wrong with that. It's just overdone.
They just kind of evolved it to.
And yes,
times.
I know I sound like the stereotypic 80s, early 90s wrestling fan. I know.
And that's the thing. He's coming from 83. I'm coming from 2006. So our wrestling point of views are very different.
So do you like today's product more or this product?
You really want to know the honest answer?
Yeah.
This.
Do you? This was, to me,
Yes.
it was more storytelling.
When it comes to stuff like this, I like the classic stuff. Now it's so fast-paced and fast-moving, and you can't get into
I
it.
mean, it can be great. It can be good. And I think it's gotten better since Triple H has kind of taken the helm creatively. One thing, too, that this Mall of America setting has, all these businesses, I mean, you can't really see some of them, are getting like free advertisement.
Yeah.
And they may have sold them spots, I don't know.
And that's another thing. A lot of these businesses, you're probably never going to find them again.
Probably not even open anymore.
Except for, like, a few. Oof. Oof.
So these two guys were part of the Four Horsemen. So they were best friends, and I don't know the story. I can't remember why they're not anymore on this part. I can't remember. We'll have to look at it and see.
Didn't they get into an argument or something
Well, no, I don't know what the reason was.
about something?
That is Scott Norton. That is one big bad dude.
Mm-hmm. And there's Michael. Randy Savage.
Yep, he had already jumped ship from WWF too. WWF at this point was going with a younger talent.
And they're about close in size when it comes to height. and
height
muscle.
wise, no, muscle Scott would have probably bench pressed Randy.
Really?
Yeah, Scott Norton's a strong dude.
Just looking at it, I thought you think they would be the same in strength.
Randy was always just on, like he was.
He was very cocky.
He not cocky. He was amped 24/7. This is Sabu. Sabu came to. He wasn't here long, and he went to ECW, and Sabu was good. Sabu, I mean, he was a good wrestler. But he was too extreme for their style back then. WCW didn't have the hardcore wrestling yet.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry if you hear dogs barking in the background. I guess somebody's coming home.
That's our dogs going nuts. They go crazy anytime someone comes in that door.
All right. Time cue is 29:53, 54, 55. I think there's another commercial coming up after this. So another WWF guy. He was the Big Boss Man. Now he's Bubba Rogers, or Big Bubba Rogers. Great athlete, great talent. I mean, he has some really good matches for a big guy too. Well, I think they may skip it. I don't know. We'll see. Peacock is horrible with these commercials.
They're very bad about advertisement, especially when you're watching the show.
So we'll just skip all that stuff.
Like I was saying, what you could do is,
Hmm?
what I was saying, what you could do is put the the shout outs.
Yeah, I
in
know.
this. I just play those over it.
That's what I'm going to do. Papa John's.
A pizza that we choose to eat.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm a Domino's fan myself. Ugh. And we're back.
And we're back. Yep, main event time. World champion Hulk Hogan. So the guy in the ring is Big Bubba. In WWF, he was the Big Boss Man. He had a cop gimmick, which he used to be a correctional officer. So that title just looks so good on anybody.
That version of it?
Yeah.
This is the what year is this?
So this is 95, but that version of the belt is called the Big Gold belt.
Okay.
Ric Flair debuted it in the 80s for NWA.
So when did it come out?
In the 80s.
Oh, okay. See, that's the style of outfit I love right there. Yeah. That one and the cowboy version of it.
Cowboy version.
It's the one where it's all like bell bottom. It's got the orange and yellow tassels with the orange and yellow cowboy hat.
For Hogan?
Yeah.
I don't remember him ever wearing that.
It's where he was doing the whole Slim Jim thing.
That's Savage, not Hogan.
Oh, okay. Not Hogan. My bad.
You're going to do the episodes. He's going to have to learn these people.
It ain't my fault, y'all.
This is when I was a Hogan fan. I like I said, I wasn't a huge Hogan fan in WWF because I didn't watch it much. But Hogan had started hearing the boos from fans about this red and yellow, say your prayers, take your vitamin stuff was kind of running thin. That's when he makes the change to the bad side and goes with the NWO.
So let me ask you this.
Mm-hmm.
During this time period, what were you doing?
What do you mean?
Like, how old were you? So
this is 95?
Yeah.
So I was 12.
Okay, so at 12 years old, 12-year-old you, what were you doing on a daily basis? Other than school?
I lived, sleep, and breathed wrestling. I was obsessed. And when I say obsessed, I mean obsessed, like bad.
Because I've heard some stories. I've heard the story of you slamming your buddy into a trampoline.
No, that was not even at 12. So I had wrestling figures, and probably at 12, I don't know if I still had wrestling figures.
I heard about the razor blade incident. I've heard all about all of that.
Oh, that wasn't me. Well, we can talk about that another time, but that wasn't me. But anyway, you asked what I was like at 12. So Monday nights, I was watching this. Saturday nights, I was watching this. I was watching every WCW pay-per-view. Magazines. I had posters all over my wall of wrestlers. Video games. I don't think yet the wrestling video games have started, but I was playing.
Well, they had some small ones early on.
But I was PlayStations. So I mean, I was very much. I mean, this was my life. I was obsessed with wrestling. I went to my first wrestling show when I was 3 years old.
And the reason I asked that is because I can remember what I was doing at 12. I was sitting in my room playing Rainbow Six Siege and then watching some show. Because I even remember the first actual wrestling event we went to. Mm-hmm. And I think that was around the time I was 12, 11 maybe.
I can't remember how old you were. It was a Raw.
It was Raw because I bought a hat, which I still have, which is the... Austin something.
Yeah, Austin 316 hat.
Nope.
It was a podcast hat.
No.
AJ Styles.
AJ Styles.
You had those two hats you had.
I had the Austin 316, and then I don't know where the 316 was, but I still have the AJ Styles one in my room. And I used to have an Undertaker shirt I used to wear all the time.
So WCW, let's get back on with this. WCW, to me right now, was okay. Sting was still my top guy, but during this, WCW would start going the WWF route where it got cartoonish. It would have, so they're talking about Kamala. So he's already jumped ship to WWF.
Ooh.
Or WCW. They would start going cartoonish with something called the Dungeon of Doom, which is stupid. It was hokey. It was horrible.
It was just a for show kind of thing.
No, it was bad. And again, to me, that's Hogan trying to put his creative stamp on this stuff, and they had to get away from that because they weren't competing with the WWF at the time. But WCW Nitro would beat WWF ratings for 83 weeks in a row. But we'll get all that stuff too as we go on.
Ooh.
Mouth of the South. Jimmy Hart.
Always wanted to mouth off.
Oh, he was always hollering megaphones and.
Ooh.
All right, so while this is going, so far, in your opinion, WWF Raw 93, WCW Nitro 95.
You're gonna be shocked by this. Both.
You like them both?
They're both good in their own ways.
So
They have their own characteristics of it. They have their own way they do it. They're both good.
So production-wise, for me, WCW is ahead, even though it's a 2-year difference. And sometime we can take a look at, because Raw is on right now too, I believe, on when Nitro was on. I don't know if it's preempted or not. We can take a look at Raw and this Nitro. Just not watch them. Well, we're not gonna watch Nitro again, and just kind of take a look at it at the same time period. WCW again. I just think it's heads and tails above WWF. So you gave WWE Raw what? A 10?
Yeah.
What do you give Nitro?
Nitro, more than a 10.
No, 1 to 10. What is it?
Oh, I'll say it's up there with the.
You say the same
Yeah.
up there?
Because here's the thing: a lot of when it comes to production can happen in just a 2-year span.
Yeah, oh yeah.
I mean, you can look at the movie industry. 2 years ago, movies looked a whole lot different than they do now.
Oh yeah, everything changes.
So the production quality can get better, but they're to each their own. They have their own unique aspects.
Here comes the Hogan Power out.
When did his hair start falling out?
When he was like 5 years old.
You're kidding.
Yes, I'm kidding. He's been bald forever.
At least he's got enough on the back there.
Sort of.
Looking like a stereotypical Bubba. Wow.
So to me, the best match on here was Sting and Flair, and then Bryan, Pillman, and Liger. Best match. You're going to see a lot of stuff with Hogan if we cover a lot of Nitros where he's just... I don't know. Hogan was not the best wrestler.
During this time.
Period. And at any time, I don't think Hogan was a great wrestler. He was a showman.
People liked him because he was a
He
showman.
could get a crowd pump. So here comes the Dungeon of Doom stuff.
Oh, gosh.
There's Kamala, and there's the Zodiac, who was Brutus the Barber Beefcake in WWF.
I've heard of the Zodiac.
And there's the Shark, who was Earthquake in WWF. Kamala, who was Kamala in WWF. And there's Ming. Ming is a great wrestler.
Oh, goodness. Randy Savage and Sting coming in to stop this.
Oh, yeah, they're coming in trying to break them up.
I love how Sting is just staying there while Randy Savage is kind of moving back a bit. I feel like during this, Randy Savage knows something's going to happen.
So Randy and Hogan were never... They used to be really good friends, then they were like
Separated.
In real life, and stuff happened where they couldn't stand each other. They had like a weird marriage. Like they loved each other, then they hated each other.
They had a weird bromance.
Yeah. So this goes on for a while. And they're going to take... All right, guys, welcome back. We're at a time queue of 42, 11, 12,
Let's see how this goes.
13, 14. We're going to kind of just talk over this because, stereotypical interview. I want the world heavyweight title, brother. You're not going to get a shot, brother. If you want a shot here, da da da. They go back and forth.
Yes.
So Luger, early Luger, I thought was great. When Luger come here, I didn't like Luger in the WWF at all.
Okay.
Luger here, he's okay. He hollers a lot.
Yeah.
Like when he gets hit or if he hits somebody, it's the exact same sound over and over. But anyway, guys, we'll go ahead and pause this. If you want to continue watching the promo here, you can. This is kind of how Nitro ended a lot. Sometimes they would end the ring stuff and
End with a promo.
Yeah, I would, and it drags and drags. So, all right, you think Raw was better? Or you think Nitro was better? Which one? If you had to pick, which one was better?
I would pick Nitro.
You pick Nitro. Okay. Next week episode. I don't know if Sean will be with me or if it'll be one of the other kids. But we're going to watch Shawn Michaels 2002. So Shawn Michaels was out with a back injury for 3 or 4 or 5 years, something like that.
5
He
years.
comes back, has a match with Triple H at SummerSlam, and then he has a couple other matches that year too. I think when Shawn come back, Shawn was great. I don't think he missed a step. I think he got better. Thank you guys for being patient with us. Like I said, it's our first time. We did not come. Did we practice this at all?
Heck no.
We just come in and said, let's hit record.
He literally started setting himself up, and right before this, I was eating food, and he was like, "All right, let's go." I was like, "All right, let's go. Let's do it."
Bloopers, times where we're kind of.
And that's the thing. What we might do, we might end up having just a whole segment of bloopers at some point. Because that would have been funny. That would be funny for people to see.
So anyway, thank you for sticking with us. Hope you enjoyed the first episode. I know you've seen Raw and Nitro 100,000 times probably. Getting his opinion on it. Like I said, I've got other kids that hopefully will join me on the podcast. We'll see. Who knows what we'll do with it. He's during one of the commercial breaks, he's seen an ad for SummerSlam. He's talking about, why don't we do like a live watch along? We may get into that at some point. I don't know. But yeah, hope you guys enjoyed the show. Thank you for being patient with us. Thank you for bearing with us. As it goes on, I promise you it'll get better.
Hopefully.
Hopefully.